we don't like it. We do not want
Yeah,
anything to
yeah.
do with this God, real or not.
All of you Christians out there, if you're listening, do not pray for Forrest. Hello and welcome back to another video from Simply MK. My name is Mladen and today we're gonna be reacting to a video from the channel called The Line. And the title of the video is Your God is a Monster. Atheist Christian Confrontation. Forrest Valkai and Seth Andrews. Now this channel is very interesting because they host two atheists and they talk to theists on the line. Basically they talk about all kinds of theories, whether God exists or not, whether reality is real or not, objective morals, subjective morality, and all kinds of basically theories and ideas that are sometimes interesting and sometimes not so much. But without further ado, let's jump right into the video.
Hey, Seth, it's really good to talk to you. And Forrest, it's good to talk to you as well.
What can we do for you?
I'm calling in. I usually call in, I try to call in lately under my internet name, which is Watcher215. I'm calling as a representative, I guess, from the kingdom of heaven to bear witness to the truth of God and the earth unto you guys.
Okay.
By way of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia. All right, go Birds.
Lo, I looked to the east, and there was Watcher.
It's a very interesting way to present yourself, Mr. Watcher, and I'm really curious to see what this is going to be all about.
What I asked you was, do you understand that Seth and I, whether you think we have a good idea of this God or not, Seth and I, we understand this God enough that we don't like it. We do not want anything to do with this God, real or not.
Yeah, I've heard that loud and clear. I just think that your perception of God is wrong.
I don't understand why they are so appalled by the idea of God. Maybe they are appalled by the idea that's presented in the Bible, so they don't like the Christian God. But if they are appalled by the idea of God in general, then that's kind of concerning. If there is a God who, especially if there is a God who cares about us, then we should actually be very open-minded to have a relationship with this God. We should carefully think about this before we make assumptions that we do not want anything to do with the God. But let's see what they're gonna say next.
But that's fine. So here's the thing. What makes you, when somebody says very clearly, like, I think this is just completely repulsive and completely evil. I don't want anything to do with this. I don't care if it's true or not. I'll be the first one to admit that it's true, but I just don't want anything to do with it in any way. What then compels you to say, I'm going to make sure these people hear more about this?
Well, if you were wrong about your perception and you're hating on something that's wrong, or you're perceiving something that's wrong about the character you're talking about, and I feel like you don't realize it, that's why I would approach you and maybe try to clear up your understanding about this person that you're hating so bad.
What if I sincerely and politely told you that, like, I am not interested at all?
If this is how Forrest feels, then I would politely say, I'm sorry to bother you, I will not bother you anymore. There's no point in talking to an atheist who is hard blocked like that and doesn't care or isn't interested at all in the theology or about God in general. Just hopefully you're gonna do good, you're not gonna do anything bad. But other than that, be on your merry way and keep on being good.
Do not talk to me about Jesus. Do not talk to me about God. Do not talk to me about Yahweh. Do not talk to me about the Bible. Do not talk to me about angels. None of it. Zero. Would you be able to respect that?
I think so. It would make me sad, but I would have to respect your wishes if that's what you want.
Okay, now let me take it one more step further. What if I asked you to please leave me out of your prayers as well? I don't want you to pray for me. Because if this God is real, I don't want anything to do with it. And you putting, if this God is real, you putting my name in its head just isn't for me. I want you to not pray for me too. Would you respect that as well?
I understand though where he's coming from. I understand this point where Christians are pushing too much on the front where they should not be so difficult on, right? They should leave it alone. When somebody tells you, like Forrest is saying here, no is a no, and we should respect that. So some boundaries shouldn't be crossed, and we need to remember that. We need to remember not to cross them.
I'm trying to understand the difference. If you think this God is real and you think that praying to him means something and it does something and it matters, it's actually causing this God to do a thing with me in mind. So I'm asking you to keep this God away from me entirely, to not speak to me about it, to not bring it up to me. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to think about it. I'm telling you to keep this God to yourself 100%. And yet you're going to send him after me. How does that not also violate my consent and continue to disrespect my wishes?
I understand where Forrest is coming from, and it does violate his consent. So, all of you Christians out there, if you're listening, do not pray for Forrest. Leave him out of your prayers. This is something that you should respect absolutely. I know that most believers think that prayer is something good and does something good, but at the end of the day, does it really work? I'm an odd Christian because I do believe in Jesus. I have decided to put my faith in Him, but I do not follow whatever is written in the Bible. I just find Jesus the best option that we have to put our faith in. Nobody else claims to be God in the same way that Jesus did. And for me, it's very interesting. So that's why I decided to put my faith there. Doesn't necessarily mean that I'm convinced that Jesus really is God. I just played my, cards and put them all into Jesus. Nobody knows who God is, if there really is a God, and if there is anything for us after death. Hopefully there is. I am hopeful, and that's where I'm standing at. Now somebody's gonna say, hey, you're not a true Christian, you're an atheist or you're an agnostic. Perhaps I am. I do not know how to name myself because I have my skeptic side, which is really colliding with my ayahuasca ceremony side, which created this idea that there is a God in the universe. So for me, I'm in between the two worlds where my mind and my heart is struggling against each other. So maybe one day I will be at peace and I will know exactly where I stand, but for now, I call myself a Christian and somebody who follows Jesus in my own way. Each of us, every individual has their own life meaning, purpose, plan, and whatever it is that we think about. So if somebody is telling you openly, like Forrest is saying here, you should respect those wishes completely. There is no way that you should find a loophole or some way that you should do this out of the goodness of your heart because he doesn't want it.
Dr. Chrissy Stroop is a friend of mine who has a great line. Proselytization is objectification. All right. It is a type of colonization. What you were saying is, well, you're living wrong and you are damaged goods. You're the prodigal. You need to be brought home. You need to be fixed. And then if we say, no, don't, stop, boundary drawn, you go back to your closet, you're still asking your God to go into our autonomous space and continue to rap us on the head with a hammer. And we're saying, look, no, we've had these conversations. We've made our decision. We're done. We reject it.
And even what you just said, Jeff, is you said that God would respect me more than you would. You're saying that you would be forced to pray, but you believe that if God knew my intentions and my feelings about it, that it would not come and preach to me or reveal itself to me or anything like that. So you are then doing something that you yourself recognize is worthless because it's important to you to do it against my will. So I'm trying to wrap my head around that. If you don't think that your God is going to come to me anyway because I reject him, then why are you going against my consent and sending him after me in the first place.
I understand where Forrest and Seth are coming from. This is a very interesting thing to say. They want their own privacy, their own autonomy, and I really like that. For us humans, our own privacy and autonomy is very important for us. So, as long as I'm alive, the way that I'm living right now is good to me, and I want to continue living as I am, as I wish to live. I don't want anybody to impede that, not even God Himself. So, in this point, I really truly agree with Forrest and Seth here. I do want to be autonomous and I want to let others live their lives as they want to as well. So, this is a very fair point and I agree with them 100%. So, let's see what they're gonna say next or what's gonna happen in this conversation. It's not really going in the way that I thought it would be because they titled the video "Your God is a Monster," but they didn't really go into the details as to why he is a monster or why they think that he is a monster.
So you're willing to respect me and acknowledge my consent and say, all right, you do not consent to a conversation about God, but you are not willing to respect my consent when you pray and say, I am going to make sure that I'm going to do everything I can that this God influences your life in a way that you don't want so that you change your mind and do what I want you to do. How are you okay with that when you're not okay, when you acknowledge that you're not going to violate my consent and talk to me about God?
It's because humility is a good thing, my friend.
See, and this is
Humility.
exactly what I'm getting to. A minute ago, when I asked you why you would send God after me, your snap response was, I'm sending love after you. And now you're saying you need to be humbled. You need to be humility. You need this humility. So you can do all of what you are saying is predatory. And as Seth pointed out, it is the same kind of colonizer bullshit.
Why is humility predatory?
No one's saying that it is. No one's saying that humility is predatory. We're saying your belief system and practices are predatory. You say you have a God. I am finishing a sentence. You say that you have a God that is so star-spangled wonderful that we need to be a part of it. And Seth and I are saying, no, thank you. And instead of saying, that sucks, I hope you see it my way someday, I'll leave you alone, you are instead trying, in whatever way you believe is real, trying to change our lives, trying to influence our days, our day-to-day circumstances, trying to change our minds and our hearts, trying to take away our fundamental autonomy so that we will be compelled to agree with you.
Yeah, leave their autonomy alone. This should be very simple and not so difficult, but for some reason, both the Watcher and Forrest here have to go through so many, I don't know how to call this, loops because they are not getting to the point which finally kind of they are, but it took so much tries before they were able to get to where they are. I understand where Forrest is coming from and I in a way support what he is thinking, and I do not want any Christian out there to force their faith on anybody or try to impede somebody's autonomy. For me, this is very wrong, and you should not do that.
First, I'm really glad. I'm honestly, I'm really glad to talk to both of you guys. I really like both of you guys. I lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and worked in Tulsa for about 10 years. So I was
Still got
really
the area
familiar
code
with
too.
Seth. And
it's a cool area code.
Yeah. I kept my number. So like I said, I'm a fan. But what I wanted to say,
quickly,
as far as I think that your sight is off. Like you see me and my God as a monster, and we're actually friends of yours. We're not monsters. We're coming to you.
That has no bearing on the conversation. That has no bearing on the conversation. I know what you're saying. That's why I didn't engage with you in the normal way that I would usually engage with a theist, is because I know that that's not the point. Seth, what are you saying?
I'm just saying, I think he's preaching. I think this is a riff on, well, if you only knew Jesus the way I knew Jesus, and I'll pray for you, hashtag I'll pray for you. Jeff, thanks for thanks for calling. But there's
I
nothing
just
new
think you
under the
guys,
sun.
I think your vision is off. Is all.
The
I think
truth
you're in
is,
darkness. Is
Jeff,
why.
if God cared enough, he wouldn't need you to intercede. There would not be a reality where on a planet of 8 billion people, 2/3 of the residents of Earth would worship another God or none at all. There would be no ambiguity at all. The God who was not the author of confusion would have already settled it. He would have settled it scientifically, historically, and morally. He would not need you to go to your inner room to intercede for us, to help bring us to the fold, to make us humble, to open us up to what the truth of Jesus is. That's on Jesus. And the truth of it is that that's an assumption that Forrest and I haven't already taken this journey on our own. You think we didn't go through deconstruction? You think we didn't actually pray, God, please reveal? I'm not sure what's going on. Do you think we didn't go to Genesis 1:1 and read the whole Bible to try to see what it says and where it came from and who wrote it and what were the context and what the issues are? Do you think we don't understand the religion that we have rejected and the God that it posits? Because we absolutely have. We do not need you. And trust me, if God exists, God does not need you either. And I'm going to move to the next call. Jeff, have a wonderful week and take care of yourself.
I am flabbergasted to say the least because I did not expect to agree with the atheists so much. They completely and utterly make sense, and I agree with what they're saying. There is no point in forcing your religion upon anybody. There's no point in you trying so hard to impose something that shouldn't be imposed, and there is no need for God to have you specifically intervene on his behalf. You, or actually God himself, can do everything that you think that should be done. So at the end of the day, I understand where they're coming from because I was like that myself before. When I started into this journey of religion, into this journey of trusting God, I kind of came into the same conclusions like other Christians, but I went through the journey on my own mostly, and I understand now the perspective where you want your autonomy and privacy and you should not force anything upon anybody. So this is a very key learning moment for every single one of us Christians out there. Do not force your religion upon anybody. Do not impose your own thoughts and meaning upon anybody because there's no point in you trying to do that. If people are willing to listen to you and they want to have an honest conversation with you about the God that you believe in, then go ahead and talk about it. But other than that, leave your God out of it and be cool on your own. Now, as I said, this video didn't really go exactly as I expected it to go because I thought that they're gonna talk about why God is a monster and why they don't believe in God. But it turns out they were talking more about Christians imposing their God on other people and forcing their religion upon other people instead of letting people be their own autonomous selves. Interesting conversation nonetheless. I'm glad I watched this video and hopefully you had some fun as well. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next one. Ciao!